We are talking with Scott Kellen of SixCentSports.com, SBR contributor John Ryan from JohnRyanSports.com, and NFL handicapping expert Vanessa Walsh previewing Week 8 in the NFL here on the SBR TV NFL Experts Roundtable. Vanessa, let's get to the games that you wanted to talk about. Now, one of them is, my favorite play actually on the card. It's New England at Pittsburgh. I actually took New England -2.5. Pats are coming off of a bye. The Pats usually play Pittsburgh pretty well. You know, there is some reason to not like the Pats here. They do have kind of a vulnerable pass defense, but in general, I thought 2.5 was a pretty small line on this one, and I like them at 3 as well. Is that how you see this game?
Actually, I do. I agree with you.
Excellent.
Tom Brady, he's 4-1 versus Steelers at Heinz Field. New England, meanwhile, took last week off with their bye week, giving them an ideal two-week window to plan this game and to rest up for the Steelers, because they're one of the toughest defenses in the league. So we actually have the number 2 defense in the league going up against the number 29th ranked, the last ranked defense in the league, which is surprising to have a team like New England ranked so low.
Yeah.
But when Tom Brady played the Cowboys sacked him 3 times. They forced 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. So he showed some weaknesses that may concern me a little bit on this. But, I would rather have Tom Brady handling the pressure from the mean Steelers defensive linemen. So,
yeah, they are mean. They are mean.
Yeah.
But I think Brady can handle it. I think Brady can handle it. They are mean, though. I'll tell you that. Scott, what do you think? Do you think the Pats are a good play here? And is their pass defense maybe a little vulnerable?
Well, I think their defense is very vulnerable. So I'm looking towards Pittsburgh here, and I'll throw a caveat in at the end that might keep me off Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh, with their win last week, they qualify in a home momentum underdog situation of mine, and I make the number in this game. I actually make Pittsburgh favored by about 1 point, so I think there's value with Pittsburgh in this game. And I think Pittsburgh is a better team overall, actually. They're not obviously as good offensively, but they're very good offensively, and they are much, much, much better defensively. This will be the best offense and the best defense that New England has faced this year. With all that said, though, my brother's an avid Steelers fan, and I had Pittsburgh in this role last year, and obviously they got blown out on a Sunday night at home as an underdog against New England. My brother pointed out to me that, when Belichick plays the Steelers, he spreads those guys out, and that defense does not perform well when they get spread out like that. They almost take Troy Polamalu out of the game, which is what the Packers have done to them in the last couple of years that they've played them as well. So that's my caveat there, that everything for me, is pointing towards Pittsburgh, but New England has a recipe to defeat Pittsburgh. I think a lot of Pittsburgh's defensive numbers come against the inferior teams that they play, and they kind of build those numbers up based on that production against those types of teams. But then when you face a team like in New England that can spread them out and throw the ball all over the place, it really neutralizes their defense a little bit. And that's what I've got to wrestle with to determine if I want to go against that or not. But everything for me points towards Pittsburgh. But the history here, the way New England and Belichick plays them, has got me, thinking if I want to play them or not.
Yeah, I think that the New England with Brady is 6-1 against Pittsburgh or something like that. They really do play them well. John Ryan, what's your take on this spread?
I had this game opening up at around Pick'em, and obviously when we talked on the openers earlier this week, we were both pretty surprised that it was opening at 2.5, 3. And after researching the game, I think there's no doubt that New England should probably be favored by more. They're coming off the bye. We all know how good they are coming off the bye, and we also know how good a team they are. The thing I've noticed with the Steelers in recent weeks is that they're in situations where they're not bringing the heat defensively. They're going into a scheme called a quarters. And what that is dividing the field essentially into 4 parts, and then any underneath throws are being covered by linebackers. Linebackers for the Steelers will get matched up against Wes Welker, which is going to be a tremendous mismatch. And I see New England winning this. And I'll just go over a couple of things here supporting Belichick in this role. He's 22-8 versus good passing defenses, which Pittsburgh is. Belichick is also 20-7 versus excellent passing teams, averaging 260 or more passing yards per game. Since being the coach in New England, he's 14-5 in road games versus excellent offensive teams overall, averaging greater than 375 yards per game. So just on those 3 alone, you can see that he's done well in what the characteristics of the Steelers team is right now. They're a good offensive team, good defensive team. Belichick always seems to find a way, especially with 2 weeks of preparation, to get the job done. So I like New England.